4. Installing the cabinet. 4.1. Installing the BSCB cabinet. The cabinet can be installed in the base mounting mode or direct fixing mode. When the equipment room is constructed with an anti-static floor, the BSC cabinet can be installed with a base. Otherwise, it can be directly installed on the floor. A cabinet needs 2 installation bases. Each base is composed of the upper and lower supports and the height locking bolts. The base height can be adjusted by steps of 25 mm, enabling continuous adjustment at each height section together with the cabinet feet. When determining the cabinet installation position, make sure that the position of the base installation does not conflict with that of the framework of the anti-static floor, and try to keep the floor framework intact. If contact is unavoidable, remove the floor framework at the contact position during the installation. 4.1.1. Based on positioning holes of the base. Specify a longitudinal reference line based on the installation position stipulated in the construction plane design drawing. In this example, the same row of adjacent cabinets is taken as the reference. First, determine the longitudinal reference line, that is, the site installation position of the cabinet, and then mark 2 straight lines 33 mm and 567 mm respectively from the longitudinal reference line with thin wires and a marking pen. With the front surface of an adjacent cabinet as a reference, mark the transverse reference line for the BSCB cabinet front face installation with a thin wire and a marking pen. This reference line is the front face position of the BSC cabinet. Measure with a tape and mark 2 straight lines 52 mm and 748 mm respectively from the transverse reference line with thin wires and the marking pen. The cross point of the 4 straight lines determines the installation hole positions for 4 bases used to install the rack. If multiple cabinets are to be installed side by side, mark the installation holes for additional bases using these as a reference. Please note, remeasure all of the hole positions after the lines have been marked to avoid any error in alignment. Confirm their sizes to make sure they are correct. For the hole position size of the cabinet, refer to the installation manual. If the hole drilling template is available on site, it can be used to directly mark hole positions for proper installation. 4.1.2. Drilling. Drill 1490 mm deep holes with an impact drill at the marked installation positions on the floor. Use a vacuum cleaner to contain the dust during drilling. If the ground surface is too smooth to locate the drill bit, first cut a concave impression at the hole position with a punch to help locate the drill bit. Measure the space between the holes. Place the adjustable base and check whether the holes are matched. For holes with large deviation, it is necessary to reposition and re-drill the holes before installing the expansion bolts. 4.1.3. Fixing the bases. Remove the washer and the nut from the expansion bolts and place the expansion rod and expansion bushing vertically into the hole and hammer the expansion bolt fully into the floor. Adjust all the bases to the preset height according to the measured floor height and the adjustable height of the rack feet. In addition, use the torque wrench to fasten the height and lock the bolt to 45 nanometers. When fastening the base height and locking the bolts, follow the principle of middle first and then the 2 sides. The height difference between the 2 bases for each rack should not exceed 1.5 mm after adjustment. Align the base installation holes facing right to the corresponding expansion bolts and fix the base to the ground using the nuts and the washers. The expansion bolts and the nuts should be tightened to 45 nanometers. 4.1.4. Fixing the rack. Place the cabinet onto the installed base manually or with a lifting device. ensuring that the front, rear, left and right sides of the cabinet are parallel to the walls of the equipment room. Adjust the cabinet height by adjusting the nut height. There should be a gap of 100 mm between the cabinet bottom and the anti-static floor. Place the level at 2 mutually vertical directions on the top surface of the cabinet to check the cabinet level degree. Readjust the height of the 4 feet of the cabinet to level the cabinet. The adjusted cabinet level and verticality deviations should not exceed 3 mm. Press the cabinet feet with a pressure plate, then put on the insulating washers, and finally fix the cabinet with the flat washers, spring washers and bolts. The fastening torque should reach 45 nanometers. The fastening bolts should be tightened in turn to alleviate stress between the bolts and the cabinet. Make an insulation test with a multimeter and connect the cabinet with a ground meter. If it is not conductive, then the test is successful. The BSC direct installation mode is the same as that for the BTS, which follows. 4.2. Installing the BTSB cabinet. The ZXC10 BTSB equipment is composed of the PWS, BTS and RFS subracks, which are combined and overlaid in the building block mode. The RFS cabinet supports both the base and direct foot installation modes. The base installation mode is the same as that for the BSC. Here, the BTS foot installation mode is detailed. Based on the equipment room design requirement, mark the drilling positions on the floor with the hole drilling template for the BTSB installation. If no hole drilling template is available on site, measure the drilling positions at the cabinet installation position with a tape and thin wires according to the hole drilling template size. Select a 12 units diameter drill bit for drilling, and when the holes are ready and cleaned out, hammer in the expansion bolts. Remember to confirm all locations prior to drilling and installing any expansion bolts. Move the cabinet in position. Adjust the height by rotating the cabinet foot screw and check the shelf with a level at 3 selected points to ensure that level and vertical deviations are less than 3 mm. Press the part card of the pressing plate on the cabinet foot, screw the pressing nut tightly and mount the pressing plate with 4 M10x25 bolts. Connect a multimeter to the cabinet and a ground meter to make an insulation test. If it is not conductive, then the test is successful. Install baffle assemblies on 4 sides of the cabinet. Position the front baffle and left and right baffles to form a U shape and push them in from the cabinet front. Clip them in the bayonet at the cabinet bottom plate. Install the back baffle from the back. Open the back door and secure the back baffle with screws from inside the cabinet. In the case where the BTS unit is laid on the RFS unit. In the RFS at the front, use 5 M5 screws and install them upward in the internal screw holes of the BTS unit by matching the cabinet top holes. At the back, fix the BTS unit to the RFS cabinet using an angle iron with screws from the outside. If the PWS is overlaid on the BTS unit, in the front, similarly connect them with 5 M5 screws from the inside. At the back, secure the upper and lower units with screws and a flat connection plate. To install a feeder fixing rack, install it at the back end of the RFS cabinet top with screws. 4.3. Description of side-by-side cabinets. The front of one row of cabinets must be kept at least 1.5 meters away from that of another row of cabinets. The space between the cabinet side and the wall must be no less than 80 centimeters, and the front side must be no less than 1 meter from the wall. A passage reserved in the equipment room must be no less than 1 meter in width.